Well, Rodrigo, it's really nice to see you again. Gosh, it's been a while since we caught up in person. I trust you're keeping well.
Yes, the same, Rodney. It's great to see you again. Even though it's virtual meeting, it is what it is. But hopefully we can get back to some normalcy and meet in person in the near future.
Totally. So, hey, I just wanted to start off by congratulating you on assuming the role of head of tax and legal in Chile. What a great
Yeah,
development and well deserved.
thank you much, Rodney. It's a big challenge, but I'm excited as well. There's a lot of things that can be done. We have a great team, great people, and so the idea is to be the best we can be for and be there for our clients. Yeah.
Just fantastic. Just well deserved. Well deserved. So, we were talking, just a little bit ago. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in the Chilean tax landscape.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there has been activity despite the pandemic and the focus on government on relief. There are interesting developments. For example, recently in January, Chile and the Netherlands finally signed the income tax treaty, which
Yep.
is great news. Netherlands it's one of the latest European EU countries that didn't have a treaty with Chile. So it's a very good development, and it's something. It's a tool we'll have there. Investors will have now in the future, when looking into Chile for potential opportunities of investment.
So that's an interesting development because, I mean, the Netherlands is traditionally a great location that multinational investors invest through. So that must be a very positive development.
Yeah, that's right. It will help a little bit simplify the structures that multinationals have and for the region in general. Yes, definitely.
Probably help people become more BEPS compliant too. So good news.
Yes, that's right.
Now, as I sort of think about, now that I mentioned BEPS, tell me what's going on relative to relationships with the tax authority. So it must be a little challenging given the COVID.
Yeah. Well, everything's been done virtually, and the Chilean tax authority in that has been great. They've embraced technology a long ago. All tax filing, invoicing, reporting is done automatically online. So that makes it easy, but also more complex type of discussions with the tax authority. Ruling requests, for example, we handled a very large and sensitive case last year, a complex structure and transaction, where we went to the Chilean IRS to request a ruling on a specific ruling for purposes of our general anti-avoidance rule. Mm-hmm. We did it all virtually. We had a few meetings with the Chilean IRS. We provided documentation. We reviewed together the documentation with them, and everything worked great in time. And they came up with an answer that was perfect within the expectations. So it was a great experience, and I think the tax administration in Chile has adapted very good as well in working in this type of scenario situation. Yeah.
So that's really interesting, because a lot of people, I think, before COVID would have been skeptical that it would be possible to handle a complicated matter remotely with the tax authority because of the number of documents, the discussions and negotiations. But it sounds like you've cracked the code.
Yeah. I think it went well. Yes.
Well, that's really interesting, and very positive news for our clients as well, as they seek to make sure that their tax lives go on despite.
Yeah. And that probably it's also very important to see that the tax authority is collaborating in at the end of the day, helping everyone have certainty. Government to know what's going on, taxpayers to know what's their tax bill going to be in the future.
Yep.
And that is very relevant in the times we're living of great uncertainty, right? Everywhere there's a lot of uncertainty. And particularly in Chile, we're in the middle of an electoral year. We have presidential elections towards the end of the year, so there will be a new government to be installed in March 2022. There's a process of redrafting the constitution. So there's an election to elect a constitutional assembly. So there are likely to be relevant changes down the road, right? And which we're very optimistic that will be changes that will help the country continue growing and being successful. But that creates uncertainty. So anything that can be done by clients that are making acquisitions, that have large operations here, to have a bit more certainty during this uncertain times is helpful. And one of these things is the interaction with the tax authority and seeking this type of rulings that we've so far we've been really successful in getting. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So actually you touched on a point, and I hate to ask you to do crystal ball gazing into the near-term future, but you brought it up, so I'm going to. If you, just given what you said about the legislative and political processes going on this year, elections and whatnot, if you had a crystal ball, what would you tell people to watch this space for?
Oof, it's a difficult question because things change so rapidly nowadays, right? I think given the political process how it is, probably this year we won't see dramatic changes, but definitely we will start seeing proposals coming out as elections get closer and political parties and coalitions start putting that forward. There's always a pressure to raise more money to pay for health, education, public sector benefits, etc., which every country is facing. So there probably is going to be some measure in terms of broadening the tax base or tax changes on tax rates or elimination of certain specific exemptions. So I think what we need to be is to be prepared and assume that we're living in times that we have to expect to see changes every couple of years, right? So we have to think about that, and in making our long-term plans have that flexibility to deal with those changes. Yeah.
Well, certainly, I mean, the pace of change in tax today is, faster than it's ever been. So I think that's good advice, that point about just trying to retain a flexible mindset and how you're positioned so you can go with the flow. Well, look, I mean, but underpinning that is the good news about just the ruling process and the transparency in relationship with the tax authorities. That's a very
that's transparency. The Chilean tax administration, they appreciate that a lot, and it's our experience as well. Our experience with clients is full disclosure, transparency. If we're doing the right thing, there's nothing to worry about. So that's for me, it's the key to having a successful tax function, and keeping the risk as low as possible.
Well, Rodrigo, I shouldn't keep you any longer. This has just been fascinating. It's great to hear how well things are going, and congratulations on your new role within KPMG.
Thank you once again, Rodney, and hope to see you soon again where we can meet in person.
I'm looking forward to it, Rodrigo. Okay, stay healthy.
Take care.